Okay, welcome to our next video, and in this one we're going to be going over how you edit and delete the contents of individual cells. And you'll notice in the title of this lesson and in what I just said that I didn't say insert, and that's because, as I mentioned in the previous lessons, inserting individual cells is almost always a recipe for disaster and you should try to avoid it. You want to be inserting rows and columns, but inserting individual cells is most of the time going to screw up whatever you have in place, or it's going to cause calculations not to work right, or sometimes it'll cause your spreadsheet to be out of alignment. And there is a shortcut to do that because there's a shortcut to do almost anything in Excel. So to insert individual cells, you go to wherever it is you want to insert it and you press Shift Control plus sign. So Shift Control plus sign. We see we get this dialog. Do we want to shift cells right, down, or do we want to insert an entire row or column? So you should be trying to select the last two here, entire row or entire column if you do this. But if you do want to insert an individual cell like this, we could say just shift cells down, go with the default here, press enter, and here's what we get. And we see the problem with this, that now at the bottom, this is not aligned with everything else here. And that's why we want to avoid inserting individual cells wherever possible. So stick to columns and rows. This shortcut is good to keep in mind because occasionally you might have to use it, but we're just going to undo that with Control Z for now and just move on because most of the time we do not want to be doing that. We want to be working with rows and columns, not individual cells when we're deleting them. Okay, so now to manipulate the data of individual cells, what we do is when we get to a cell that we want to change, say this product category example, we hit F2 to enter it. And this lets us get inside and see all the text that's in here in this case. If this were a number or formula, we could be looking at the contents of the number or formula, seeing what variables and constants go into the equation. But this is just a text cell, so we can just go through and look at the text here. And the most useful shortcuts here, obviously the arrow keys work to get around, but what you really want to be doing here is using Control arrow key. So Control right to skip words or entire parts of the formula, Control left to go all the way to the right. So Control left and right to skip around within the cell. And then similar to what we did with the navigation, if we hold down Shift at the same time, so Control Shift left again, then we highlight the entire thing. So this is very handy, and you can actually, this actually works within Microsoft Word as well, and probably other programs, and it just lets you change individual words and phrases very quickly within the contents here. So let's say, for example, that we want to, instead of calling this product category, we would just want to call this product type. Well, we'd press Shift Control left to highlight category, and then replace it with type. And we could press Control Z here to undo that. Press F2 again to enter the cell. So F2 enters the cell, Control arrow key moves around, and then Shift Control arrow key will highlight the individual words within it. Another thing that we can do within these individual cells is we can actually create new lines. So if we press the Control key and then press left, we can actually make category and go onto new line by pressing Alt Enter, and that will create a new line for us. If we press Alt Enter again, we get another new line. So that's something we can do. And this is useful, for example, if we wanted to actually have two lines here, and then we could just press backspace to get rid of that space, and then press Alt Enter to make this on a separate line. That would make it easier for us to see. There are other ways to fix this kind of issue, but it's just something to be aware of, that Alt Enter within a cell will create a new line for you and space everything out appropriately. Now, if we want to delete the contents of a cell, the way to do it is to press simply the delete key on your keyboard. Do not press the backspace key here. Just undo this with Control Z. If you press the backspace key, you're going to end up with lots of extra white space. You might get unpredictable behavior. It should just be absolutely avoided. Never press the backspace key to delete anything. Press the delete key if you're going to delete a cell. And once again, I would say in most cases you want to be working with deleting individual rows, columns, or groups of rows or columns in most cases. Another alternative is rather than actually deleting the cell, sometimes you can just go in by pressing F2 and just go in and fix it. So that's another thing to consider, that sometimes you don't actually need to delete a whole cell like that. Okay, so now that you know something about how to manipulate these individual cells, I want to go through a quick exercise here using what we just learned in some of the previous material. So if you look on our sheet right here, you see that there are actually two duplicate rows, this Victoria's entry right here. We'll press Shift Spacebar to highlight the whole row, and then the down arrow key. Shift F8 to keep that highlighted, and then we'll go down to Smiths, and we see that there are two duplicate rows here. And this is rather odd because we're keeping track of customer orders with this particular data. And so it's quite odd that we have these duplicate entries. So what we want to do is go in and actually modify the data so that it shows two separate orders from these different customers. And if we look at this, we see that the customer name should be the same, the industry should be the same, the number of employees should be the same, the product category should probably be the same if it's the same company ordering the same thing from our company. And of course, the address and phone number should be the same because it's the same customer. But what will be different is the product price, the product quantity, and the order date. That's how we're going to distinguish these individual orders. So what we're going to do is go into these cells and actually do that. And I'm going to do it right now so you can see what you have to do. Then you're going to try to replicate this. You're going to pause the video and then try to replicate what I just did. Then once you unpause the video, I'm going to go through it again and this time actually give you the shortcut keys. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change this 7500 to 5500. Then we're going to change this product quantity from 10 to 15. Change the order date from April 7th, 2009 to April 17th, 2009. Then under Smiths, we'll change the order date from April 18th to April 8th. Change the product quantity to 25. Then we'll change the product price to 3,000 here. Okay, so pause the video right now, and I'm going to highlight these rows so you can see exactly what I just did. And what you should do is take your file, and you should go in and change your individual cells within these rows so that it matches what I have on the screen right now. So pause the video, and then once you're done doing that, or if you get stuck, you can unpause it, and then I'm going to go through this again. I'm going to undo what I did. I'm going to go through this again, and this time I'm going to give you the shortcut keys so you can actually do this. Okay, good. So now I'm going to walk through this example once again, this simple example, and I'm going to give you the shortcut keys this time so you can follow along and check what you did. So first things first, I'm going to press Control Z a bunch of times here. And this is just to bring us back to the original state. So starting off with this row right here, this cell D7, press F2 to enter it. I will press the Control key, the Control left key to get all the way to the left. Then I will press the arrow key and then backspace and enter a 5 here. For the product quantity, I just press right to get there. I'll press F2 again, backspace, and then 15. And note that if you're just deleting individual text, backspace is fine. Delete should just be used when you're actually deleting an entire cell, but for individual text like this, backspace is fine. Then for the order date, so here I'm actually going to press F2, but I'm not going to press Control left because that'll just take me to the end. This time I'm actually going to move all the way over with just the left arrow key and press 1 in front of the 7. Then I'll move down with the arrow key, press F2 right here, and then I will delete the 1 with the backspace key, so the 8 is left. Move left with the arrow key, and then I'll press F2, backspace, and then enter a 5 right here. And then for product price, the easiest way to do this is press F2 and then Shift Control left arrow key to highlight the whole thing, and then we can enter 3,000. And actually in this one and in other cases, we could have just pressed delete and then just entered the whole thing again. I was just doing the Shift Control and then the arrow keys within the cells so you could get practice actually doing that and manipulating these individual cells. But this gives you a basic idea of what to do. So hopefully you're able to follow along with that. In the next lesson, we're going to be going into how you group, ungroup, and actually hide individual rows and columns within the spreadsheet, because that's another very common task that you'll be doing in investment banking and finance.